What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we'll be concluding this relatively short what if. Be sure to check out the previous two parts to catch up on everything. Because today we'll be looking at the last two arcs of Super, the Tournament of Power and the Moro arc. With how strong everyone is now, how will they fare in the tournament? For this part, let's set a like goal of 3,000 likes. And with all that out of the way, let's pick up from here. So as mentioned last time, there never really was a Goku Black arc. Trunks never had to travel back to the past because he already saved it himself with his new friend Imperfect Cell. A really weird duo but an effective one. I might make a separate video covering what happens there, but we'll have to see about that. Our focus right now is on the present timeline. Following the Universe 6 tournament, Nappa and Vegeta have been training a lot together, growing noticeably stronger. They spent a lot of time on Beerus' planet, and they've seen some good gains from it. With how much of a great head start they had with Super Saiyan Blue, it's only natural that they surpass it at some point. Vegeta may be the first to discover a form above it, accessing Super Saiyan Blue evolution. And with Nappa sticking so close to Vegeta and doing the same training as him, he'd get the same form as well. But as for Goku, well, he's doing something similar but different at the same time. Vegeta and Nappa are more focused on power and brute force, while Goku's more in tune with his martial arts side. For him, efficiency seems to be key, and he may have found a new way to make Blue more efficient. He ends up mastering Super Saiyan Blue. So while Vegeta and Nappa have evolved it and made it stronger, Goku has done the same but in a different way. But that's not where Goku stops. In his search for mastered Super Saiyan Blue, Goku inadvertently discovers something else. Something that didn't necessarily seem too reliable. It was something that Whis was pretty impressed by, and once he found out, he immediately started training Goku alone, trying to see if Goku could refine this power somehow. Vegeta and Nappa are aware of it, but aren't too sure what's going on there. They decide to ignore it. Maybe he's having trouble catching up to them, and that's why he has special training with Whis. Who knows though. As for Cell, he does occasionally visit Beerus' planet, and naturally, he would end up accessing Super Saiyan Blue at some point. Not just him, Gohan would have it too. Pretty much anyone with Saiyan transformations at this point has it. So that's all good, everyone's a lot stronger and they've got new forms of power. And honestly, they are way stronger than normal. So, the tournament's gonna be a complete wash, isn't it? Well no, it's not really that simple. Of course, the tournament itself does get announced, and now they have to form a team. Obviously, there won't be any androids on the team besides Cell, simply because they're inside of Cell, so I guess they are still part of the team in a way? You get what I mean. Of course, Goku, Vegeta, Nappa, and Gohan would be there too. As for the humans, they'd probably take Krillin, Tenshinhan, and Yamcha on the team too, who are a lot stronger due to accessing God Ki, as well as Piccolo. So, that leaves 9 members. They need one more. And for the last member, Goku and Vegeta both want to recruit their sons, but Vegeta tells Goku he already has Gohan on the team, so he says he should be able to recruit Trunks. While they kind of feel bad about it, the rest of the team intervenes and votes for Goten. Vegeta's confused why, and in all honesty, Trunks isn't really that strong here. Well, he is strong, a lot stronger than he is in canon. But actually, Goten may be ahead, and this gets Vegeta to realize it's his fault. He kinda left him behind with his focus on training with Nappa on Beerus' planet. On the other hand, Goten had Gohan to train with. Trunks did join them occasionally, but he didn't get the same benefits in power or experience. Goten was around Gohan and Piccolo way more than Trunks was. Vegeta feels pretty bad too, but it at least gets him to realize he needs to spend more time with Trunks. He begrudgingly accepts. After the tournament, he'll shape Trunks up to be stronger than anyone else. Of course, Trunks is a bit schmiz too, but the blame partly is on him for not having as much motivation as someone like Goten did. Also, the thought of a universal tournament is kinda terrifying, so maybe he lucked out. And little does he know there's more at stake than just 10 million Zenny. So, Goten's gonna have to carry that burden. First up is the exhibition match. Universe 7 would sweep. The team would probably be Goku, Gohan, and Cell. And with how strong they all are, they would easily wash the trio of danger. But then Toppo joins in. Obviously he's still a bit angered here, and challenges Cell this time, since Cell is the strongest, and he doesn't believe it's fair for an artificial human to be on the team. But don't get the wrong idea because he's equally mad at everyone from Universe 7. The two fight and Cell surprisingly overpowers him, even without transforming into Blue. Toppo decides to get more serious though. He begins powering up and Cell does the same. They're about to fight at full power, but their fight is stopped. They'll have to save that for the tournament. Some time passes and the tournament itself begins, and it starts out pretty easy. I mean, a lot of the people there are kind of fodder. But there is someone who is particularly stronger, that being Cabba. As I mentioned last time, Cabba was interested in the god forms after seeing them on display during the tournament. So he actually asked if Champa and Vados could train him somehow. Champa saw this as a great opportunity because he knew Beerus had students like that. So maybe if he had his own godly Saiyan, he would also be one-upping his brother. So he accepts. Cabba spent most of his time in the past year training there, eventually unlocking Super Saiyan God. And what better person to show it off to than Vegeta? Nappa was sticking with Vegeta, but Vegeta decides he's going to take on Cabba alone. So Nappa lets Vegeta have this fight. Kaba transforms, impressing Vegeta, as Vegeta goes into the same form himself. After Kaba explains how he got it, the two clash, and Kaba's actually pretty strong as Super Saiyan God, matching Vegeta in the same form. But Vegeta wants to see if he can go further. Kaba says he has been trying to get Super Saiyan Blue, but he hasn't really been able to control it too much. He briefly did before, but it really isn't working too well. He even tries tapping into it for Vegeta, and briefly Vegeta sees his hair flicker into a bluish color, but it doesn't work. Kaba definitely does have it in him though. So time for some short training. It's going to be harder for Vegeta to help him access this, because Super Saiyan Blue isn't like Super Saiyan where he could just make Kaba angry. He'll have to make him the opposite. He'll make him calm. So oddly enough, people watch on as the two begin meditating during the tournament. They consider attacking the two of them, but thankfully Nappa's guarding everyone, knocking out anyone who tries to interfere. With some tips and some help from Vegeta, Kaba tries entering the form again, doing so calmly this time, and it actually ends up working. He's accessed Super Saiyan Blue. Two of the people that were watching on are Kale and Cauliflower. Sadly, they kinda got screwed in this scenario. Kaba was too focused on his training with Champa and Vados that he didn't get time to train with them, so they probably wouldn't even have Super Saiyan here. They're still strong in their own right, but they're not going to be nearly as powerful as they once were. So instead of fighting the offensive, they more so randomly attack any weak fighters around the arena. A sneaky but fitting strategy for them. But instead of doing that now, they're taking notes, amazed by what they're seeing. Vegeta and Kaba both fight in blue, and once again it's a really good fight, but Vegeta would definitely end up taking the win here. Vegeta's actually pretty impressed, and Kaba bows thanking him for the lesson, but he's not going to be knocked out that easy. Vegeta's going to have to fight to knock him out of the ring. Very well then, Vegeta promises to revive everyone if they win, and says sorry about eliminating Kaba as he powers up into Blue Evolution, catching the Saiyan off guard as he's knocked out of the ring. We also have Goku versus Jiren, and there's no Spirit Bomb or Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken this time. Instead of going to that, Goku's actually fighting pretty well in blue against Jiren because of how strong he is. But he can tell it still won't be enough, so he's gonna have to crank it up a notch, pulling out a technique that he's been hiding. Thanks to some help from Whis, he's been able to access this willingly, but it's still definitely not perfected, and it might not be entirely stable. Goku drops into base and begins calming himself. Jiren watches on, confused. A new aura then appears around Goku, one that's kind of bluish and purple, and it's a very intense aura. Goku's appearance doesn't change too much, but there is some noticeable difference in it. He opens his eyes and glares at Jiren, revealing that they're now silver and shining. This amazes everyone in the stands besides Beerus and Whis. This is their trump card. The gods immediately recognize the glow around him. Goku is using Ultra Instinct to Omen, which he thankfully can activate at will now, but as he's learned from his training with Whis, this still isn't complete yet. This isn't really the true Ultra Instinct, but it should be good enough for Jiren. He and Jiren clash as everyone watches, and since Jiren is so suppressed, Goku actually briefly overpowers him for a bit, until Jiren begins cranking up the pressure. The two continue powering up to match each other, and the fight pretty much rages on in the background while everyone else watches, trying to get back to their fights. Another fight that happens is Cell versus Toppo. They're finally able to fight at full power and not be interrupted. Cell is coated in a blue aura as his hair flickers blue, revealing naturally what is his blue form. Toppo's pretty impressed by the power, and begins to transform himself, going into his God of Destruction mode. At first, Cell is actually caught off guard by Toppo's power, and Toppo thinks he has the advantage, but really, Blue has some excellent ki control and Cell's been holding back. He just didn't want to expend too much power, but he decides to use a bit more. He then lets Toppo in on a little secret. This isn't his full power, not even close. And actually, he's one of the strongest people on the team. The only person stronger than him is Goku because he has that Ultra Instinct form that no one knew about beforehand. And while Cell is a little bummed to realize this, he tells Toppo that they're both in the same spot at second best. But that doesn't make them equal, not in the slightest. Even with Toppo's god powers, Cell is still too much for him. And even though he could stab Toppo and steal his power, he doesn't even really need to. Cell splits himself into three, as three different cells fight Toppo at once. Being outnumbered and overpowered naturally messes him up, and Toppo ends up being defeated by Cell, as he merges back into one person. As for the humans, they are much stronger here, and they do get a lot of eliminations, but they won't be making it to the end. Krillin does stick it out for a while, but the other universes are just too strong for him. Ten and Yamcha fight Universe 3 together, knocking out a bunch of their fighters, but eventually are taken out once Aniraza is formed. This new fighter even tries to interrupt the fight between Goku and Jiren, but he's then stopped as Vegeta and Nappa step in. Once the two power up into Blue Evolution, they defeat Aniraza alone. Meanwhile, Gohan, Goten, and Piccolo are fighting Dispo at the same time. And as you can imagine, this would probably be overkill for Dispo. The three fight with perfect synergy, and with someone as strong as Gohan with them, they're fine, taking out the number 3 fighter of the Pride Troopers. So, a lot of the fighters have been taken out, including some of the strong ones. Even Hit gets eliminated by Universe 7, but the fight between Goku and Jiren still rages on. Goku begins getting tired though. He can hold UI for a decent amount of time, but not this long. Especially with all the stress he's going through during this fight, he still hasn't mastered it yet, and everyone can tell he's losing steam. Literally, they can see the aura radiating off his body like steam. He's definitely having a tough time. The two briefly stop in their fight to talk, and as the two launch towards each other again, the ground just explodes below Jiren, flinging him up into the air. Goku looks over and sees Nappa standing with two fingers pointed upwards. Vegeta and Nappa have stepped in to help. They tell Goku to go rest. They'll try and distract Jiren for a while. Goku powers down into base, getting a much needed rest. Cell comes up to Goku to tell him his plan. Jiren's really the only obstacle now, so as long as they're able to coordinate, they can defeat him and win. Since he hasn't fought too much, he gives Goku a lot of his excess energy, helping Goku recuperate much quicker. Cell then splits himself into three once more, with Gohan, Goten, and Piccolo joining in too. They all ask if Goku's ready and he nods, turning Ultra Instinct back on. As Vegeta and Nappa face Jiren, Vegeta seemingly gets knocked out of the ring, until Goku's able to catch him, being quick enough to get behind him and stop it. Vegeta thanks Goku, as everyone else then jumps into fight. These guys aren't strong enough to be oppressive towards Jiren, but still, he's fighting so many people at once. Cell's even using some crazy tactics to fight, splitting himself into three, then merging back into one person to dodge attacks. And since they can't be too safe, he even does stab Jiren at one point, taking a bit of his energy which heals Cell, as Jiren then cuts his tail off. Not that it really matters because Cell can regenerate, but now Jiren knows of this. Cell keeps facing Jiren alone, as Gohan, Goten, and Piccolo jump back. Cell then splits into three, with two of the cells grabbing Jiren's arms, and one of them grabbing his head. All of the cells try to restrain him somehow, as they all yell out towards the group. Nappa then uses a gigantic storm, with Vegeta also following, having learned this from Nappa. The ground once again explodes below Jiren, as he and the three cells are flung up into the sky. Due to the power of the blast this time with Vegeta being involved, Jiren tries to propel himself back in, but the cells try and propel themselves out. Jiren's able to break free of Cell's grip, but it's too late. He looks down and sees Goku, Gohan, and Goten all performing a Kamehameha towards him. The three launch their blasts, all swirling into a giant beam as it hits Jiren. Two of the cells are disintegrated in the process as one of them is able to jump out and get free, hitting Jiren with his own Kamehameha, which not only helps propel Jiren outwards, but it propels Cell inwards towards the ring, as he crashes into the ground below. At this point, there's no way Jiren's getting back in. Vegeta and Nappa keep destroying the ring below him just in case, with Piccolo helping as well. The family Kamehameha sends Jiren flying into the void, inevitably eliminating him. Cell picks himself up from the rubble, giving a thumbs up, as everyone powers down in relief. Surprisingly, Cell is named as the MVP, and people are still worried about what he's gonna wish for. Sure, he's become somewhat good by now, but it's still the same Cell as before. He could wish for literally anything that he wants. Everyone waits in anticipation, as Cell then decides he wants to revive every universe. Think about it, Cell's developed enough by this point where he probably would wish for this. Plus, one of Cell's big motivations is to fight strong people, just like Goku. So, reviving all the universes would help him get this goal. It's a win-win, everyone gets to live, and Cell potentially gets to face more strong people. But it's not just in the other universes where strong people exist, there's still others in Universe 7. Specifically, Moro. He'd end up escaping prison like normal, causing the Galactic Patrol to come to Earth. They remember that Boo is here, but it turns out that he actually isn't, so no Grand Supreme Kai for them. But on the bright side, there's some strong fighters there that may be able to help, and some with some pretty unique abilities, so they're all brought along to find Moro. This eventually would lead everyone to Namek, where Moro himself would be collecting the Dragon Balls. Vegeta's the first to fight Moro, and in terms of power, Moro can be overcome, but once he breaks out his magic abilities and starts stealing energy, it becomes kind of an issue. But thankfully, the energy absorption isn't too big of a problem, because there's someone there that could work around it. Surprising the Galactic Patrol, Goku then powers up into Ultra Instinct. Of course, none of them besides Maris know what this is, but he's surprised, so they all get surprised too. It must be something important if he's impressed. Moro himself is even pretty scared. This mortal is using a godly technique. How did he get access to this power? Not only does it make Goku stronger, but he's able to dodge attacks, and attack without thinking basically. No need to rely on attacks that Moro can just eat. If you remember from the manga, Goku with Ultra Instinct Omen was enough to match Moro in power, after he's already absorbed a lot of people and planets, and restored his youth. But at this point, Moro is still old, and he hasn't absorbed much energy. Not to mention, Goku is stronger here, so Moro is disadvantaged in more ways than one. It's pretty much overkill. Moro is defeated, and the Galactic Patrol steps in apprehending him. By fighting Goku, he became very distracted and weakened, leaving him open to be captured again. Maris and the Galactic Patrol promise to keep him under watch. This time, he shouldn't be able to escape. They thank everyone for their help, as everyone returns to Earth. And I guess with that, it's the end of the scenario. Really, for now, there's no way to continue it. As for Broly, he may come into play in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. We won't know what happens next until a new arc of Super comes out. But for now, we can say with certainty that our characters have made it out okay. The scenario has allowed them to make a great amount of progress, not just for Goku either, but for everyone involved. But don't consider this a finale, more so a hiatus. Maybe it is the end, who knows? But this is where we'll leave off for now. So, what did you guys think about the scenario? If anything did happen next, what do you think would happen? And what did you think about this part specifically? Leave any thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. And let's try to hit that like goal from the beginning of the video so I'll know that you guys want more videos like this one. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future parts of this What If or any other videos that I upload on my channel. Thank you all for watching, thank you for supporting the scenario, and I'll see you all in my next video.